What if I told you most Canadians aren't broke because they don't earn enough? They're broke because of how debt quietly, silently controls their life. Not loudly, not aggressively, but slowly, quietly, over months and years. It starts small. A car loan, a credit card, maybe a phone upgrade you thought you could handle. And before you realize it, you're working just to keep up. So the real question is debt helping you build wealth or quietly keeping you stuck? My name is Sai, and I spend an unreasonable amount of time looking at housing data, interest rates, and how money actually behaves in Canada. So you don't have to. Because once you understand how debt really works, you start seeing it everywhere. And today, we're breaking it down. Why debt keeps Canadians stuck, the traps most people miss, and how you can actually escape it. Here's the thing. Canada's debt situation isn't theoretical. As of 2026, Canadian households owe around $3.2 trillion in total credit market debt. Mortgages, loans, credit cards, everything combined. That's near historic highs. Trillion with a T. That's more than many entire sectors of the economy generate in a year. And when you break it down, it starts to feel personal. Because this debt isn't spread evenly. It's sitting on people like you and me. About 32 million Canadians hold at least one credit product. That's almost the entire adult population. This isn't just big numbers, it's everyday life. And it's not just the amount of debt, it's how fast it's growing. Non-mortgage debt, things like credit cards and auto loans, jumped more than 4% year over year in 2025. That means everyday borrowing isn't slowing down, it's rising, even as the cost of living stays high. So you might think, well, if people are borrowing more, maybe they're earning more too. Unfortunately, that's not exactly true. Canada's debt-to-income ratio, basically how much people owe compared to what they earn, is sitting around 177%. That means for every dollar Canadians earn, they owe almost $2. You're not just borrowing, you're borrowing more than you're earning. So let's break this down in a way that actually matters. Because behind these numbers are people. People trying to live normal lives, pay their bills, save a bit, have a little freedom. But instead, they feel like they're drowning. You get paid and within days, the money is gone. Rent, mortgage, car payment, groceries, credit card minimums, utilities. And suddenly, you're not deciding where your money goes. It's already spoken for. And here's the part that's even more stressful. Because even though inflation has eased a bit in 2026, around 1.8%, essentials like food and housing costs are still high. So yes, prices aren't rising as fast as they once did, but the cost of living isn't suddenly cheap, not by a long shot. You still feel it. Every time you go to the grocery store, every time you fill your tank, every time a bill hits your inbox. That's the real cost pressure that keeps people weighed down. Debt isn't just numbers, it's emotional. It's that tight feeling in your chest when you check your bank app, the quiet tension you carry every time you think about bills or future plans, or if you should even try to save. That's not freedom, that's survival. And it gets even more complicated because nearly 1 million Canadian mortgages are set to renew in 2026, many at much higher interest rates than when they were first signed. That means even people who thought they had their payments figured out may see their monthly costs jump, sometimes hundreds of dollars more. Imagine that. You're already stretched, then suddenly, boom, your payment goes up. Not just word of mouth, not in theory, but in reality. That's pressure people feel behind closed doors. And yet, nobody really talks about this in school. You go through 12, 13, 14 years of education, but no one teaches you how money actually works, how interest accumulates, how debt compounds,
how minimum payments keep you stuck. So people learn the hard way, through experience. Let's talk about minimum payments for a second. Two words that seem harmless, manageable even, but they're designed to keep you in the system. You pay a bit, but most of your payment goes to interest, not the actual debt. So you keep paying month after month, yet the balance barely drops. Months become years, and suddenly you've paid 2, sometimes 3 times what you originally borrowed. That's not growth. That's stagnation. Then, something good happens. You get a raise. And for a moment, you think, finally, things will get easier. But then, life adjusts too. You upgrade your car, you move to a nicer place, you treat yourself a bit. And before you know it, you're right back where you started. Still earning more, still feeling stuck, just at a higher income level. Because debt grows with your lifestyle, but wealth only grows when you create space in your finances. Imagine this. You put $500 a month into investing, or you spend $500 a month on interest. Same amount, 2 completely different outcomes. One builds future stability, the other slowly takes it away. And most people never even get the chance to invest because their money is already committed. Here's something most people don't realize. Debt doesn't live in your bank statements. It lives in your decisions. It affects how you think about spending, how you think about the future, how you think about risk. Every single choice gets influenced by it. So why does this happen to so many people? It comes down to a few things. 1, easy access to credit. Credit's everywhere. It's fast. It doesn't feel dangerous. Swipe now, deal later, and suddenly you're deeper than you thought. 2, social pressure. Everyone around you looks like they're doing well. Nice cars, nice homes, vacations, but you don't see the debt underneath them. And 3, lack of financial education. No one teaches you how interest actually works, or how easy it is to get stuck in the minimum payment cycle. So people learn by going through it. Now, let's be clear. Not all debt is bad. Some debt can actually help you move forward. If it builds value or creates opportunity, it can be useful. But most of the debt people carry does the opposite. High interest, no return, just ongoing pressure. That's where people truly get stuck. Not because of one big mistake, but because of small decisions that slowly accumulate. So how do you actually get out of it? It starts with something simple. You look at the numbers. Honestly, no avoiding it, no guessing, just clarity. Then you stop adding more, even if it feels uncomfortable. You pause the upgrades, you give yourself space. Next, focus on the debt that's costing you the most. That's where your money is leaking the fastest. If possible, increase your income. Even a small amount can begin to shift things. And at the same time, you start investing, even if it's small, because habits matter more than amounts. At some point, there's a shift. You stop trying to impress people. You stop chasing things that don't really matter. And you start focusing on control. Because that's what this is really about. Not perfection, not deprivation, just control. Real wealth isn't loud. It doesn't need to be seen. It's quiet. It's stability. It's having options. Debt doesn't make you a bad person, but ignoring it can cost you years of your life. The goal isn't to avoid debt completely, it's to understand it, use it carefully, and never let it control your life. If this helped you think differently about money, there's a lot more like this coming. Because no one is coming to fix your finances, but with the right understanding, you can change everything. I'm Sai. I'll see you in the next one.